Hey everyone, welcome to the fourth episode of 51 Shades of Grey. I am your host, Sean Grayson. We're going to jump into the Forbidden Door review, and also we're going to talk a little bit about the Raw recap. But first, we made an Instagram. Follow us at 51 Shades of Grey PW on IG, PW being pro wrestling, and then on X at 51 Shades PW Pod on X. But look, before we jump into it, there's a couple things that I want to kind of get off my chest about Sunday. I was there, I attended, and I know that some people out there that listen to this podcast are excited about my Forbidden Door review. But I need to start with a UBS review first, right? UBS review I think is important in this situation, and it's a mix of an AEW review with a UBS review. Number one, it takes forever to get to UBS Arena coming from South Jersey, and it takes forever to get out of UBS when it's over. So it's funny, I was talking to a few people, and what I said was all these arenas that are like not in like the center of a city are made without the thought process of people leaving the show from a parking perspective. Cops just kind of sitting there, not really directing traffic, people having to do different things to just inch out just a little bit. I really think that it's really annoying. It makes a lot of sense as to why my parents, a lot of times when I was younger, left the show a little bit earlier because, God, I mean, the show ended at midnight. We'll get into that. The show ended at midnight, and I probably didn't leave the lot till 1 o'clock, and it wasn't because I was hanging out. It's literally because I couldn't get out of the lot. So, if you're an engineer out there, if you're an architect or whatever the case may be, when you're building an arena, like come up with a better way for people to get out of the damn arena. Now, let's talk about when you get into the arena. The food, amazing. Shaved steak I had with little pickled onions, a nice little thing of cheese for like $20, right? It's a little expensive, but definitely worth it. Better than a cheeseburger and fries. But I did have fries, but it was like kind of like a poutine type thing with little hairs of chicken, right? About this big, little pieces of chicken, really good. Again, better than your basic French fry and your basic cheeseburger. So I was willing to pay that money for that. But let's talk about what I wasn't willing to pay for. Some people have seen it on X. I've experienced it myself. And this is an AEW thing. $50 for a t-shirt is unacceptable. I mean, it wasn't like more than like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, where you went to any event, any wrestling event. It was like $30, $35. Then I noticed over the past year or so, it jumped to 40, which I think is ridiculous for the kind of merchandise that AEW gives out or sells. And I don't know if this is a UBS thing. If it's a UBS thing, shame on you, UBS. If you're like charging a percentage, so they have to up their pricing. But to charge $50 for a t-shirt is ridiculous. I am doing my best not to curse right now. It is unreal ridiculous. This is not Ralph Lauren. This is not Gucci. This is not Polo. This is not Versace. This is a t-shirt. Like Fruit of the Loom t-shirt for $50. And the sweatshirts are $75. So on value, you should probably buy the sweatshirt because it's better off that way. But both are absolutely ridiculous. And again, this could be a shame on you now, AEW situation. The just the degree of options are completely lax at best. 6 or 7 shirts, no real personalized shirts for the individual wrestlers, more of the I was there Forbidden Door events. Now, I don't know if the reason behind that was that there's so many wrestlers, you can't really give the options, or maybe they didn't want to pay the percentage to the wrestlers for their t-shirt sales, their merch sales? I don't know. All that I know is that they had like 7 t-shirt options and 1 sweatshirt option that was $75. There was some kind of autographed belt, I think it was, for $750. Like, are you mental? Like, really? Like, come on. What are you doing? Like, let's say the tickets. Okay, so I'll shoot everybody straight. I paid like $84 for the ticket for my ticket, right? Lower level. And then I paid like $50 for food, right? But let's say that I had brought a family, right? So I went with 3 of my buddies. So let's just call them, let's just say that they were like my family, my wife and kids. Let's just say that, right? So it's $84 times 4, so it's about $330, a little over $330. To park is $54, right? So you're $54, so you're, let's say, like $380-ish. Let's say that everybody spent $50 on food. Now we're at $200, and you know the kids want more. So then we're at like almost $600. No, yeah, almost $600. And then you deal with merchandise that if everybody got a t-shirt, it's an extra $200. Like, come on. My buddy went online to the AEW shop, bought like a tie-dye shirt. It was like $35. Like, what are you doing? Now, again, this could have been a UBS thing. If it was, again, shame on you, UBS. You're being so greedy. So greedy in that scenario. But if this was a mixture of AEW and UBS, like, naughty. Very naughty. Like, come on. Like, really? Stop. Like, that's just greed to have greed. All right, so I went on a little bit of a rant there. Let's talk about the card for the Forbidden Door. Let's talk about the results. Let's talk about what I liked. Let's talk about what I didn't like. And there's a lot to like about this card, and it delivered in a lot of ways. To start, what I didn't like was 14 matches, but it wasn't 14 matches, ladies and gentlemen. It actually was 15 because the show started a little before 7 with Kyle Fletcher versus Serpentico. Kyle Fletcher winning in a quick match. I don't know why that was on there. They have a dark match on top of 14 matches, but it was. Honestly, I didn't watch the match. I was shocked by the fact that it was even there. Shout out to the Masters, little Masters Cup here. Listen, you can only get this Masters Cup if you do the Taste of the Masters, which is it is a meal plan, a subscription-based box, essentially, where you spend a few $100s in the box for the Masters. They send you all the things that you can buy at the Masters, and you have like your Masters party at your house, or you got to go there. So shout out to them for that. After that match, we got to our seats, and it started with House of Black versus Ishii, Kyle O'Reilly versus Roderick Strong and Gabe Kidd versus Private Party, won by House of Black. It was a great match. It didn't go over 10 minutes, but it was a very good match, which highlighted Gabe Kidd, as well as obviously getting that win for House of Black. I thought it was very entertaining for a pre-show match, but it was great. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to give it like a star ranking because there's only going to be in this what we're talking about today. We're only going to have my best match and my worst match. Like, that's it. And when we get to the best match, I'll talk about it. And when we get to the worst match, I will 100% talk about it. It's actually further on in the card. So after that match, we had Willow Nightingale and Tom Nakano versus Chris Statlander and Momo Watambi. I probably butchered that. The crowd was real hot for Willow. I wanted Chris Statlander and her teammate to win, but crowd was really hot. I thought it was a really good match, a couple false finishes, and to get false finishes in a pre-show, that's really great. I thought it did it justice. It celebrated the fact that we're on Long Island. And I think Chris Statlander also is from Long Island, as well as Willow. It was a pretty decent match. Went over just over 10 minutes, which, there's, again, we're talking about timing of things. The show ended just at midnight, so we're going to talk a little bit about timings of things. Then we got the Mariah May, love me some Mariah May, with Toni Storm coming out with her versus Saraya. This was an Owen Hart first round match, won by Mariah May. Look, we'll talk about this. This is Mariah. I feel like this is Mariah May's tournament to win. I think the storyline sets up great for All In London. Mariah May versus Toni Storm. Great story to tell with that as well. It was an okay match. It went under 10 minutes. It was about 8 minutes and 30 seconds or so. Not to be specific, right? It was an okay match. I don't think it highlighted Mariah as much as I told people it would highlight Mariah. But I think that's more of a Saraya thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that it was an okay match for what it was. And then finally, the final pre-show match was the Lucha Brothers and Mystico versus Los Ingobernables de Japón. I said it again. I did it right. What a good match that was. God, that should have been on the main card. It was fire, right? Awesome match, but I expect nothing less from the three luchadors. I really don't. But I thought it was a great match, and really, in reality, it was a really solid first 5 matches. Even though I didn't see the Kyle Fletcher match, I'm a fan of Kyle Fletcher. That match went about 12 minutes or so. That last pre-show match, so they really paced it well. That match probably could have been a fight forever type match, even though you can't because you're on the pre-show. Let's get to the main card. The main card opened with who? MJF, hometown boy, who didn't have his shirt for sale in his hometown. Right? Like, seems like you're missing out right there. And MJF just got back, so he's selling all those shirts. Like, what are you doing? Like, AEW, like, what are you doing? It was a pretty good match. There was some cool moving, some cool submissions. But we got a situation where we knew MJF was going to win. He did win. Went just under 10-minute match. But it was a good match. Like, it was a good match. It wasn't like the best match, right? It was a good match. It was a good opener. The crowd was hot because it was MJF. And it was good for what it was. Now let's talk a little bit about the next match. Oh, this match. The Elite and Okada. Well, I guess Okada's in the Elite, so the Elite versus the Acclaimed and the Ace Tanahashi. Won by the Elite. Okay, look. I'm going to talk about this match for just a few minutes here. So, the Elite are heels, right? They're uber heels. People boo the Bucks all day long. The problem is, when Okada comes out, it is like the next sighting of Jesus Christ. And everybody's cheering. It doesn't matter what Okada does, flips you off. It doesn't really matter. Okada gets cheered. Everywhere Okada goes, he gets cheered. So what are we doing? And I get it. Like, his character is hilarious. Like, the whole, cursed character, like, really funny, shows an other side of Okada. But it's a heel with such a liking to him that he's really a tweener. He's a gray area, right? The Bucks, definite heels, EVPs. That's their character, the mean EVPs. But it was a good match. It was a great match. It's high paced. Went about 13 minutes. High paced match, fun, but won by the Elite. Okada with the best drop kick in the game. I would say there's 2 people that I love seeing their drop kicks. Right, it's such a simple move, right? But it's a drop kick. 2 people I think have the best drop kicks: Nick Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler, and Okada. Both of those 2, I'm sure there's others as well, but those 2 really stick out to me as people with the best drop kicks in the game, right? So when that drop kick hit and then the Rainmaker hit 1, 2, 3 on Ace, was great. I like the stare down in the beginning between Tanahashi and Okada. Tanahashi is the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling. If you didn't know that, kind of just throwing a bone to him right in this match. But I really enjoyed the match. I thought it was fun. I thought it was everything that was supposed to be, right? Then we get to the next match, right? This match went a little longer than 10 minutes. Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi. Now, if you saw any photos from or videos or anything like that, I was like waiting for the song Final Countdown. The last time I think he played that, he was wrestling Okada, maybe he was wrestling Will Ospreay. In either case, if you want over 10,000 people to get off their feet and blow the roof off something, man, Tony Khan should have ponied up the money to run Final Countdown. But when I look at who he was fighting, and nothing against Shingo Takagi at all, amazing wrestler. Maybe it wasn't warranted it was a quick storyline to build the match, so maybe it wasn't warranted to have that. So he came out to his regular music. The match went 20 minutes. There was not a chance in hell that Bryan Danielson was going to lose this match. Sorry. And it was an Owen Hart first round match with the winner facing Pac, I think this upcoming Wednesday. So that's going to be a good match as well. But Bryan Danielson, spending that long 20 minutes giving us another huge moment. It was great. It was amazing. Then we get into the next match. Timeless Toni Storm versus Mina Shikawa, with Mariah May kind of in the middle of this whole thing. So the really storyline, the back storyline of Mariah May teaming with Mina in Stardom, and obviously Mariah May now doing things with Toni Storm. It worked out how it was. It wasn't a long match, about a little under 12 minutes, 11 minutes and 40 seconds. Again, let's get a little particular, right? 11 minutes and 40 seconds. It was a good match. At the end of it, everybody had a three-way kiss. That was quite lovely. Anytime there's a three-way girl kiss, that's quite lovely. But it worked well, and all of them kind of went out together. Again, I think that we are gauging ourselves and getting ready inevitably for a Toni Storm, Mariah May encounter after the Owen Hart. I would be really surprised if she doesn't win the Owen Hart, if Mariah May doesn't win the Owen Hart. I think that is where the direction that we're going in. But it was a good match for what it was. And again, none of these matches gave you like a bathroom break, a get food break. Now, I'll tell you when I got food, right? And it's in between the start of the next match and like the entrances, because the next match was a great match. It was Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy. Now, the beginning, I like forego the entrances. I had to get some more food, a little bit of ice cream, but I had to get something else, right? Because I knew that we weren't even close to being done yet. And what a match. Like, bell to bell, a great match, right? Crazy submission holds. Sometimes I think Zack Sabre Jr. just like thinks of these submission holds while in the ring, right? So it's like working on the arm, the two arms, he's twisting the arms, but then the leg's moving around like this. So let's grab the leg, let's turn and twist it. What about the other leg? Let's turn and twist that. The submission hold at the end that he made, and that match lasted just over 16 minutes, at 16 minutes and 20 seconds. It was really cool. It was like some double pretzel turn thing that I was like looking at my friends and I was like, yeah, that hurts, right? It hurts. But it was won by Zack Sabre Jr., who should have won that match, no matter what. I don't care what anybody says. You have to throw New Japan a bone or two during this pay-per-view. And Zack Sabre Jr. should have won that match, which he did, which is great. The next match of the night was the match that I thought would have like been my bathroom match. But actually, I had already gotten stuff, so it didn't really matter. Samoa Joe, Hook, Shibata versus the Learning Tree of Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and Jeff Cobb. Won by Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata. 13 minutes and 25 seconds. It was okay. The match was okay. Like, it wasn't my worst match of the night. I don't like the Chris Jericho character. I've said this before. I don't like the Learning Tree. I'm meant to not like it because he's over the top. But I'm not a fan of it. I haven't been a fan of it. I don't like it at all. But again, it was what it was, and it was an okay match. Next match of the night was a ladder match. Jack Perry versus Takeshita versus Mark Briscoe versus Dante Martin versus Lio Rush versus El Fantasmo. Won by Jack Perry. I thought he was going to win. It sets up well for the storyline. At the same time, I loved the ladder match. I always love ladder matches, right? Great spots in it. Though Mark Briscoe missed a spot where he jumped off of a ladder, tried to through the table, but landed short, but hit the table. Kind of like an edge spot when he broke his ankle. Like, guys, land it right if you're going to land it. Like, or don't land it at all. You're going to get yourself hurt. But I thought the match was a really, really excellent match. Great ladder match. Again, won by Jack Perry. So the Elite have more belts now. And it was a good match. A little under 17 minutes, 16 minutes, and 55 seconds. So we got some good work with it. The next match, there's only 3 matches left. The next match, Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vakir. Good match, very good match, right? Very exciting. I never thought that Stephanie was going to win this match at all. But what was interesting was the booing that happened with Mercedes Moné. Right? Typical Boston. People are saying F the Celtics. It's stupid. You're from Long Island. Let it go. Like, you don't have a professional NBA team. You have a G League team or whatever the case may be. Just let it go. But she's a heel, man. Mercedes Moné is a heel. If she doesn't understand that, she's blind and not paying attention or listening to anything. She's a heel. Let me tell you why she's a heel. Let me tell you the difference between her and something else I'm about to mention. Mercedes Moné wins the match in about 17 minutes. Actually, 17 minutes on the dot. And as she's in the ring celebrating, Britt Baker's return music hits, and she makes a return, and the crowd pops. Goes crazy for her. That's a face. That's a face. So in a storyline, and basically establishing a situation where we're starting now a storyline between obviously Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné, you have a definitive heel in Moné and a definitive face in Britt Baker. I know Britt loves to be a heel. Just embrace this face run right now because you are loved in your return, an AEW original. And I think that we're going to get some good mic work from the two, I hope. And equally a great match. Hopefully a match that leads it to a match at Wembley between the two of them. And I would love Britt Baker to beat Mercedes Moné. We'll see if that happens, but I would love that. And I know I haven't talked about my best match and my worst match of the night, but I'm about to talk about my worst match of the night. At this point, so many matches in, I'm tired. The crowd's tired. We know we have 2 matches left, so I think a lot of it is just us, just like give us a break type thing, right? Let's get a break, right? Oh, we got a break. My worst match of the night was for the IWGP Heavyweight title. Tatsuya Naito versus Jon Moxley in a match that went 17 minutes and 5 seconds. I have no idea how. It was not a good match. Naito beats Jon Moxley for the title. It stunk of mediocrity. I'm sure they felt that when they went back. It was slow, but not in a good way. It was misstepped in all the bad ways. But then at the same time, I think about it, I'm like, well, it wasn't so bad because we needed to wait for the Osprey Swerve match, and we have to conserve our energy for this particular match because we need to be fired up for the match. I don't know. I'm not sure. I know that no one really cared too much. So if it came across differently on TV, let me know. But in when I was there, it was just like all of us were just kind of hanging out. Um, and again, I call Naito winning this match. Because again, you have to throw a bone to New Japan at least twice in a show. But it was, I don't know if there's a word for it, right? The word is just wasn't good. That just wasn't good. But let me tell you what was good. Oh, let me tell you what was good. The match of the night. Oh, the match of the night. Ding ding, match of the night. Swerve Strickland, Will Ospreay in a 27-minute and 5-second masterpiece. Now, some people may masterpiece. I will explain to you why this was a masterpiece. And I will also explain to you why certain things that happened towards the end of the match maybe will be brought up on Wednesday. It probably will. But I don't think it should because it went longer afterwards. So that's not a direct reason for that to happen. But a masterpiece with Swerve Strickland retaining his title. Very slower pace in the beginning with a lot of tricks and stuff like that. A lot of back and forth of seeing who has the bigger you know what. But it was hot. The people were hot the whole time. Ospreay, right? Everybody's so hot for that. Whose house? Swerve's house. Do a little dance, right? Everybody was so hot for that match, and it delivered in every way. And as we got through the match, we eventually got a few false finishes right throughout. Then we had a hidden blade that happened on the referee. Out comes Don Callis, tries to give Will Ospreay the screwdriver to hit him with. Now, keep in mind, there were still like 10 minutes left in the match or so. So, like, him having that moment of that didn't really affect anything. Prince Nana gets involved. And, we have Swerve hitting the stomp and hitting the different things. And I'm like, oh, the match is over. Oh, 1, 2, 3. No, 3. No 3. False finish. Everybody going, oh. And then Swerve does something again, hits him with another move. I'm like, all right, this has got to be it. Not it. 1, 2, no 3. False finish. Hits him again with another one, another false finish. Just like false finish after false finish after false finish. And I was like, oh my God. Eventually, Will just kind of wore out. 1, 2, 3. What a great match. Now, while this match was going on, Daniel Garcia, who is going to be facing Will Ospreay on Wednesday night for the international title, was watching in the on the press boxes, but in one of the suites up top. They panned to him a few times. And then also who was watching this match was MJF. I told you that there was potentially an MJF Will Ospreay storyline for All In. Well, we saw him watching that as well. I thought it was the best match of the night. Other people don't have other ideas because they say, why is there need for that many false finishes? Because you have to have false finishes with these two because it's telling a story of just being this close to winning the title, but just not getting it done. And I thought it was great. I thought it really sent the crowd home happy. And honestly, if Will Ospreay would have won, it probably would have sent the crowd home happy as well. But ultimately, he did not win, and Forbidden Door closed. at just under or just about midnight. So that was Forbidden Door. It was great. Anybody watching on TV for $49.99, you definitely got your match money worth, right? And being there as well, even though the UBS is so far away, and I question if I'm gonna be back there again because it definitely took a toll on me. Um, it was really good. It was really good. But again, like we talked about before, AEW delivers pay-per-views. That's just the way it is. So let's move over to Monday Night Raw and your Raw recap of the day here. So again, 3-hour Raw. We have just about 20 minutes left in the show tonight. Today, I keep on saying tonight. It's clearly light in here, so it's clearly today. But let's talk about it. I think we could easily get it done in 20 minutes. I wasn't as enthralled with Monday Night Raw as I have been in the past few weeks. It wasn't bad. It was good. It was like a solid B. But it wasn't a B plus, it wasn't an A minus, and it wasn't an A, and it wasn't an A plus. So there's a few things I want to touch on, right? And we could pass through some things too, but there's a few things I definitely want to touch on. I want to touch on number one, just how hot Jey Uso is still. His lead up obviously now for Money in the Bank, which is this Saturday, and we'll be doing our Money in the Bank preview with a SmackDown review show on Saturday. So that will be up on Saturday in the afternoon or somewhere around there. But let's talk a little bit about Jey Uso comes out, the Fireflies, right? Keyword in the Fireflies, his Yeet Flies, if you will. His Yeet Yellow Jackets, his Yeet something, right? It's his people, right? I think he's called them mosquitoes, whatever. You have that match. You have that segment where Chad Gable comes out. Chad Gable's we're talking about the Wyatt Six. They're talking about interesting situations I didn't even think about. The first time the Wyatt Six debuted, it was right after a Jey Uso match. Well, as they're talking, their music hits again during a Jey Uso segment, so that's always interesting. But it's obviously attached to Chad Gable. Chad Gable flees the scene. You have Sister Abigail dropping off another VHS tape, which I don't mind. What I kind of minded was, and again, I don't want to pick on it too much, but I think they need to watch out for certain things. So as they're walking through, as Chad Gable's walking through the arena, you're panning on him and you're seeing different areas that light comes up and the shadow of one of the Wyatt Sixes there. Very supernatural-ish. They have to be very careful with this because it doesn't want to go. You don't want to make this over the top goofy, right? Because eventually they're real people who have to potentially wrestle eventually, and so I don't want to make it too supernaturally. That's what made that first initial one a few weeks back so cool. It wasn't very supernaturally. It was just basically like camera angles of people destroying things in the back of people, and that's really cool. If you just did the videos and do different things with the videos, right? Like beat up Chad Gable again and put a video on him that says "Play Me" or something like that. So I'm not going to pick on it too much, but let's be careful with this storyline. I also hate the fact that the Wyatt Six are just on Raw. That reminds me of just an act. You're just an act then. You're just part of the roster. On the next draft, do you get drafted as a group? I don't think we should pigeonhole them. I think they just show up anywhere they want. Now I understand they can't show up essentially on SmackDown, but why can't they? Right? I don't know. Like they can definitely show up on NXT. I mean, maybe they can show up on SmackDown with a video or something like that. But like, you're just pigeonholing them to Raw. You're going to Raw saying I'm going to see the Wyatt Six. Like you're not going to SmackDown going, oh my god, I hope that they don't do something here. Like it's to become an act. And like I said, we got to be very careful with that because we don't want it to be cheesy in any way. Right? I don't think. Then you have I think your backstage segment with Liv, and Liv's back there with the Judgment Day, and they're leaving, and the relationships with Finn, and Finn loves Liv now as a friend, and Dom is like, this is ridiculous. Have you talked to mommy? Priest is like, I've talked to mommy, and this is she's not happy. I wish that they brought the real life in of Dom going, you know what? I'm mad at mommy too. Mommy got married. Bring like reality into this. Mommy got married and didn't care about me. Why should I care about her? Like, I hope that that's potentially a situation where they can do something with. I think that'd be great. Then you got, Liv versus Zelina Vega for the women's title, with Liv winning, with Dom going to ringside with Rey Mysterio because they're going to fight each other later, going to ringside for Zelina and the LWO. And you have, Dom throwing a chair into the ring to Zelina Vega, very similar to what he did with Becky Lynch, saying, hit her, hit her, hit her. Him getting on the ring apron, Zelina hitting him with the chair, Liv getting upset, hitting her with her finisher, 1, 2, 3, it's over. It won't be over for the night, but it's over for there. And you have that storyline. You then have the triple threat for the next qualifying, or for the final qualifying for Money in the Bank, with women, Dakota Kai versus Zoe Starks versus Ivy Nile, won by Zoe Stark. It was an okay match. It wasn't crazy. Then you have backstage segments with Chad Gable and Otis, and Otis is eating a plate that looked really good in catering. I think that was catering. If it was catering, it looked really good. I think it was like a baked potato and like a steak and a burger and all this other stuff. And I think there's broccoli there too. I don't know, but it was really good. Basically saying like, I love you, but like, we're not helping you, which is great because I think eventually this leads to Chad Gable and the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile coming together as one, or this could lead to the Wyatt Six destroying them all because it's a dysfunctional family. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But then you get like, you get Dom and Ray coming out on top of this because Liv had messed up, trying to help Dom. Zelina Vega came out again, trying to beat up Liv. So I think that potential storyline is going to continue. But it wasn't bad at all. And then you get to, and I'm sure I'm missing some things in between, but things that really stuck out to me. Then you're getting to a segment with Seth Rollins. Crazy Seth again. And his like, I don't know, like his over the top, I am a visionary. I am a dude. Stop. Monday Night Rollins. Like, dude. I get it. Like, you're pandering to the crowd, right? At least you weren't saying, sing my song. You're pandering to the crowd. I get it. My name is Seth freaking Rollins. Like, I get it. Like, Finn Balor comes out when he's cutting a promo. Basically saying, like, he's garbage and stuff like that. That brings Damian Priest out, and Seth thinks this is an attack, a trap. And Priest is like, absolutely not. I don't even know why he's out here type thing. Damian does bring up, which I love, the fact that he brought up the fact that Seth is delusional, that this isn't his show anymore. And we're going to have a Money in the Bank. Again, we're talking about the Money in the Bank preview show too, with a SmackDown review. So we'll talk about who I think is going to win between Damian Priest and Seth Rollins. There's a little fisticuffs there, and I'm very excited for that match. I have my ideas of who's going to win, who I think is going to win, but you can go many different ways. But it was good. It was a good match. I'm sorry, it was a good segment. Um, then we get to the essentially get to the main event. Ilya Dragunov. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's forget about the main event for a second. Let's forget about the main event. We get a segment between um, Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. Braun's a star. I cannot wait until he beats Sami Zayn. I hope he beats Sami Zayn. I pray he beats Sami Zayn. I swear to God, he better beat Sami Zayn. Right? Again, I don't like Sami as the Intercontinental Champion at all. I think Braun is next up. I think he'll elevate the title just like Gunther did. You know what's crazy about Gunther for a second here, and Gunther brought it up against last week, but like people don't bring this up too much. There's such an emphasis on the briefcase and who's going to win that, and then who's going to win the Seth and Priest. Doesn't really matter. All roads lead to Gunther. It's Gunther. I hope. I hope we're not doing stupid booking here. Gunther needs to have the title. Make his SummerSlam moment. So it doesn't matter really if it's Priest or Seth. You're losing to Gunther. I hope. He deserves it. I don't think Seth deserves it anymore. He's done enough. Priest got his moment. It's Gunther's time. So then we go to the main event. Ilya Dragunov versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre for the right to be the last person in the Money in the Bank ladder match, won by Drew McIntyre in a great banger match. Such physicality in this match. Such physicality. It was great. It was so good. Those three worked so well together. We know that Drew and Sheamus have had banger after banger after banger after banger matches. They're very close friends, so they really know each other well. And sometimes that doesn't work out the best, but in this scenario, like Jay and Jimmy Uso, Super Kick Party at Mania. But this works out really well, and you put in Dragunov in there, who besides Sami Zayn is like one of the only people besides like maybe one other person that's beat Gunther in his entire career in WWE and in NXT, right? So there's clear value to Ilya Dragunov, but he lost this match. I thought again it was a great match. I thought, winning in this match, Drew, it sets up perfectly for an amazing situation, right? Again, we'll talk about that situation later. I'm not going to talk about it now. I think that it was a perfect way to end Raw with Drew getting that last spot. So that's the Raw recap. And we have a little bit of time left to talk about something. And I wanted to bring it up. I brought it up on the beginning of last show. The reflection time period, right? I haven't talked to you guys about what you should feel, think, anything today. It's this point at all. But we're going to go back to the reflection for a second here. So I talked about my great aunt and how she's entering the hospice system, essentially. Hospice system does not mean you're dying tomorrow. The hospice system means you have a few months left or so. Essentially, entering the hospice system is her, basically saying, like, if I get sick, I don't want to get better type thing. So I told you guys that I, for the past probably 2 years or so, like, haven't really seen her that much because we've been busy. I've been busy with life, right? And I've said, like, don't be this busy. So I end up today going to where her assisted living is, and I've never been there before. And my dad said, and I'm going to try not to get emotional about any of this right now. I'll do my best. My dad said that I should go there. I should just go there to go there, right? But go there to say bye. Not because she's passing away tomorrow, but because she could pass away tomorrow, right? It's an anytime scenario up to 6 months, from what I understand. And as I'm driving there, I'm trying to think and put words in my head of what I think I'm going to say, or what I think I'm going to say. Right, got it all worked out in my head. And Mike Tyson said, everybody has a game plan until they get punched in the face. And ladies and gentlemen, I got punched in the face. What I mean by that is what I saw, what I felt, and what I wanted to say, I wasn't able to say. So I go there, sign in, I get into her room. She's sleeping for a second, and I said, "Hey, it's your..." She said, "Hello," and I was like, "It's your grandnephew." And she said, "Who?" And I said, "It's Sean." "Who's Sean?" Now, I just talked to her last week on she's blind and can't really hear, but she's able to call on Alexa. So she's clearly with it enough to reach out to me last week. And I said, "It's Sean, Jeff's son." I didn't know what to say, right? She goes, "Oh, I want to go home." And I didn't know what to say. And so I said, "You are home, because in theory you are." And you could tell she wasn't there. And I was finding it very hard to say anything else in that situation. She's like, "I want to get up. I want to get out." I'm like, I don't know. I'll go see if you can do that. I go out, I call my parents. And I'm like, "You guys didn't prepare me for like what I'm dealing with, or what I saw." And I'm in shock. This was a woman who was never married, never had kids, lived independently for freaking 90 years or so. She's 93 now. And I said, "I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? This is what she said, and this is what this and that." My dad was like, they swapped out yesterday her regular bed for a hospital bed. I guess it took a toll on her mentally, because, but it's just easier for their therapy and different things like that. And I said, "Okay, I'll go back in, and I'll go, I'll go talk to her." I go back in there, and she's sleeping. I said, "Hey," didn't wake up, sleeping. I said, "Okay." So she's sleeping. Then she passed away. She's sleeping. I said, "Okay, she can't hear me. She's clearly sleeping." And I'm walking out of her assisted living, which is kind of a little apartment, and I'm looking at some of the old photos that she has there. And some of those, all those old photos came from her apartment, and I'm in there, and my wife's in there, and my kids are in there, and those photos, and then I'm in there as a young person, and my grandmother's in there when they're younger, and she's in there with me, and my parents are in there, and I'm looking through these photos, and I start, getting emotional and start crying, like not like a loud cry or anything, just some tears. And I said, "Okay, I know what I kind of want to say, right? Like, I kind of like, not saying that I'm not going to go back before she passes or anything like that, but like, just in case." And so I go back, and I'm in the doorway, and she's sleeping. I just kind of look at her, and I start thinking about memories and things, and think about life. And I just kind of blew a kiss, and I said goodbye. Just, just in case. I don't know if it made me feel better about it, right? It's very selfish, right? That's very selfish. But I don't know if it made me feel better. Um, and I don't know if she heard me, to be honest. But it was tough. And I know you guys you're not coming on this to listen to this to be emotional in any way, right? Except like mad about wrestling or something along those lines. And but I wanted to update you because I wanted to bring you guys into my life, right? Into the stuff that I'm going through. I still have time to obviously shoot the podcast, right? Um, but those moments are tough. We all have those moments in life. So when we reflect back, don't don't miss that moment to say hello or goodbye. Don't go to bed mad. Fix it before you go to bed. You don't know if there's tomorrow. I don't know if there's going to be. That's why I was able or wanted to say goodbye. But for us, well, I'm going to see you guys later on the Dynamite Review Show.